I'm excited for you to hear the Day of the Dead homage that happens.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't even. Can you give me a clue? Are we going to be, is it a zombie sound? Is it kind of like an
I think
atmospheric
I'm
sound
not going to
or?
give you a clue because you're going
Okay.
to hear it. You're going to
Okay.
hear it and you're going to be like, "Oh my God." Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Matt and Mike Pull Focus. I'm Mike,
And I'm not.
and today we're joined all the way from America by writer and director Tina Romero, whose directorial debut Queens of the Dead is released in theatres this coming Friday, October 24th. Tina, thank you so much for joining us today. We're genuinely so honoured to have you here. You must be run off your feet with the film being released so soon, with the press tour and everything.
Hi, Mike and Matt. I'm so psyched to be here. Thank you for having me. And it is a busy, wonderful, surreal time. I'm so excited. I can't believe this little zombie movie that could is actually coming out on Friday. And I'm just pinching myself every moment. It's like a dream come true.
I was going to say, does it feel quite surreal actually
Feels
getting to that point where it's going to be released in cinemas?
It really does. You go to film school, at least for me, you go to film school and your dream is to make a feature film, and maybe that feature film gets put on a big movie theater screen. And I'm just so psyched that IFC and Shutter is putting it out this year. It's you take a film to festival and it can take years to get a release. And it's just so cool that it's coming out quickly because the timing feels very appropriate. Not only is it the year of a Kesha comeback, and we do have a Kesha track in the movie, it also is, more importantly, it's been a kind of a rough year for the gays, and this feels like a nice antidote to some of the news that we're getting on the regular over here, at least in our country.
Yeah, and what better way to answer it than with a great movie? You talked about like, the road that it's been like, can you remember the moment of inception for this movie? Was it like one of those great ideas you have while you're sitting on the John one day, and that kind of thing, and then it becomes a reality, or has this been a really long time coming?
This has been a long time coming for
Mm.
sure. But I do remember the moment of inception. I was upstate sitting around a fire with some friends, and I kind of had the image of um, I had one of the first images of Zombie Queen, actually, of the zombie drag queen like falling out of a bathroom stall, and what it would be like to have a drag zombie loose on a dance floor in a club, like without, and how that could possibly be hard to see and hard to point out, and how people might not notice that. And this was all kind of inspired by an event that took place in the queer nightlife scene, a community, a place that I was deeply involved in for many years after film school. That's how I kept my lights on. I performed as DJ Tricks in the clubs of New York, and she wore a rabbit mask and a wig, and it was really an eye-opening coming of age time for me. And I am still deeply connected to the queer nightlife scene in New York because it is such an important. It's not just about parties, it really is about finding community and finding self-expression and um, DIY, scrappy, creative, get it done stuff.
It's such a
And
great
there
avatar
was,
you have with that mask. I think
yeah.
it's really, really a really eye-catching kind of image that you had there. And how did you come up with the idea for the rabbit?
Oh, a great question. I was DJ Tricks before the rabbit came around, but I spelled it. My first DJ name was T-Rex, and I spelled it TR little X. I didn't want to spell it like a T-Rex because of the musical artist in the 70s. I really loved him,
Mm.
and I didn't want to like steal his thunder. I don't know. But people would see my name spelled out and they would call me Tricks anyway. And eventually I was like, I kind of like that. Let's just keep Tricks. And then it was actually the weekend of the Pulse nightclub shootings in Orlando. I was slotted to play, and I felt really weird about it. I felt sad. I felt scared. I felt like, what are we doing? We can't go out and party after this horrific event just took place. And lo and behold, I found myself walking around the Flatiron District, and I wandered into my favorite costume shop called Abracadabra on 21st Street. And this mask just called my name, and I picked it up and I decided to wear it that night. And I had one of the best sets of my life. I felt like I was transported. It made me feel more confident. I felt like I played. I didn't have any kind of second guessing myself, and it was like I felt my an alter ego being born. And I also at the same time realized the importance of us continuing to do what we do despite the horrors of the world. It was important that actually we needed to party. in spite of what went down at the Pulse nightclub shootings. And so it was a very powerful night. And after that, she stuck around, and I started bringing tricks out more and more. And she evolved. The mask changed. She started to wear more
I
crazy
was going to
wigs, and
ask you about that, like, in this sort of the Slipknot sense, like they say that their masks
yeah,
kind of evolve, with how they're feeling and what's happening in their lives. How much has
yeah.
Trix evolved? Has she changed color, or is she kind of like, how have you altered the mask over the years?
Yeah, she's changed color. She's not like now she's leather. She used to be plastic. She
With like
the, he-
9 foot
the
spikes coming out like Slipknot.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The headphones had to shift because over ears don't really work when you have a mask with ears on. So
Right.
I've had to rig different headphones so that I can have a monitor that fits underneath the wig and the mask. But yeah, she is, and actually I'm bringing her out again this Saturday, and she hasn't come out in a while. So I'm curious. I'm waiting to see what she's going to want to be this coming Saturday, and I'm thinking like maybe one of her ears is going to be bloody.
Oh, that's very cool. Subtle, but I like it.
Yeah, yeah,
And what
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
music do you blast then? What's the kind of thing that as your music taste changed, since you started DJing, do you always play a certain genre?
I am always, I'm always like listening to you. I'm that person who will run down the street after a car with my Shazam because I like what I hear coming out of the windows. Like even if I've got shopping bags, I'll be like trotting down, trying to chase a
That's me
Shazam
during
moment.
movies. I'm like, when I hear a tune in a
Yeah,
movie, I'm like,
same.
I need to have this. Let me
Yeah.
Shazam it. Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah, just
awesome.
shameless Shazamming all over the city. And so I'm always kind of like playing what honestly what makes me want to dance. That's sort of my rule of thumb is like if it's a bop and it makes me want to dance, I'm gonna play it. I don't stick to any genre. I don't stick to any certain kind of format. I'm very open. I like to go on a journey. I switch it up with the BPMs. I switch it up with the era. But I actually I would describe myself the same way as a DJ and a filmmaker. I am an edgy cheeseball. Like I will play the top four. I will play Sabrina Carpenter. I will play Beyonce. I will play all that good shit. But I might throw in like a really like never heard before Afro pop remix of something obscure.
I love that kind of like anti-pretentious attitude where it's like,
Very
anti-pretentious. We're gonna,
inclusive. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And was there music growing up like in your household? Like, was were your parents like big into music, or what was the sort of, when did this start, this love of the genre?
I've had headphones glued to my face since I can remember, and I'm that generation where I've kind of had all the format. We had the Walkman, we had the Discman, we had the tapes.
Mini disc.
Oh my God, yeah, and it's so crazy how the playlists have had to shift over the years. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do. I thought I would die when iTunes went to hell.
Same.
And like
Yeah.
I lost so many playlists, and now I'm like, God, Spotify has me by the balls. Like
Yeah.
if something happens to Spotify, like my playlists are everything. What am I gonna do? But my dad and my mom, they both love music. My dad had a lot of the album that makes me think of my dad the most is Paul Simon Graceland.
Oh,
Loved that
nice.
album. It was
Yeah.
on a lot. But he also was big into musicals. And we listened to on road trips and stuff. We would listen to a lot of musicals, which again, edgy cheeseball. And
Are
so
we talking Sound of Music, West Side Story, like what kind of thing? Like those
yeah,
kind of classics?
classics, and then we had Cats the musical in there. The two of us really loved that musical. We were shameless about that. In fact, it was one of the last musicals I got to watch with him. They were on a tour, and they were in Toronto, and we got tickets, and we were in like the front row, and I could see it. So the cast was really close to us, and the show just begins like it's the overture, and the cats are slinking out in the front of the stage, and like here we are. My dad is 6'4". He's a big noticeable guy,
Yeah.
and we are both weeping, like just weeping because we're so excited and moved by the opening notes of the overture to Cats the musical, and I could see the cast being like, what is up with these two in the front row? But that was something that was so special about my dad. We watched a lot of movies together. He really loved the classics, the John Wayne, the westerns, the Seven Samurai, Ten Commandments, 2001: Space Odyssey, and he wanted me to see everything, and he wanted me to take it very seriously. No phones, like no interruptions.
Mhm.
Um, he would be looking at me to see my reaction, and and when he was moved by something, he would just weep. He would just
Oh,
weep in front of me like it was nothing. And this big guy just like blubbering because something was so beautiful and moved him so deeply. And I think that made a big impression on me. You know, it really showed the power of a movie.
the few people I've had the pleasure to talk to about your dad and about the extended Romero family, they call it, is that your dad was a pussycat. That's what they all say.
Oh,
He was this
yeah.
sweet, kind of
Yeah.
big friendly giant, of a
That's
guy.
right. Exactly. He really
And
was. He was like a big Muppet, you know, like just the most lovable, gentle, giant Muppet. And who made some really dark and crazy movies. Yeah, but I think the fact that he was such a softie, I think that comes out in his films. I think that's actually why they're special because there's like this, you know, he loved the classics, and I think that that kind of classic cinema storytelling is in his movies.
oh yeah.
Even
And
though
a concern for society as well. I think the idea that
yeah,
he cares about what happens to us. I think
yeah,
that's kind of what comes out. And I'd like to mention your mum as well at this point because
yeah,
for people who don't know, Christine Forrest, your mum was a producer on a lot of your dad's movies and also an actress.
yes,
And I wanted
yes.
to know, like, yeah, how has she been like through this process? Of you making Queens of the Dead? Has she been, has she given you any pointers, any advice, or like, what's that process been like for you guys?
I love that you're asking about my mom. You know, behind every great man, there is a great woman.
Oh, she's a very kind lady, very kind.
She is, and she really kept my dad afloat and alive. And she ran the office. You know, she had the files together. She took the phone calls. She really kept the ship afloat throughout all of it. And you know, I she just played such a crucial role. And so, you know, I lost my dad in 2017. It was horrible. I miss him terribly, and I don't think I expected. I didn't. My dad was always like the one I went to for writing feedback. He read my papers. Like he was the one I went to for creative advice. But during the process of writing this movie, which was a long one, you know, my co-writer Aaron Judge and I were writing this for like 8 years. But my mom has read every draft,
Oh,
and she is a smart reader. She reads everything. She watches everything. She really knows what a good script is. And so she gave me incredible feedback. And she's been such you know, she's just been on the other end of the phone hearing like all the headaches, all the crises, like always kind of giving sage mom advice. Like, you know, she's been such an amazing support. And I, in a way, I don't think I saw that coming, if that makes sense. I was like, oh, okay, my dad's not here. But my mom was really my mom who stepped in and advised me all the way through. And it's been very special to have her um, have this experience with her because, like I said, it was usually my dad who I went to for creative stuff, but this one was my mom,
mm.
and I'm so lucky to have her. And she just came on Sunday night. We played at New Fest in New York City, and she came and she watched it in the theater, and she just has she got such a kick out of seeing it with an audience, and it's really been special to have
Oh,
her
she must be
by
so
my side.
proud. Like, I'd be very proud of you, honestly. That's
Aw.
Yeah, I'm so
fantastic.
glad it was a
Yeah.
positive experience here, because if it was my mum, she'd be back seating all the way through, telling me probably how to do it. So
My mum,
God, it was
my mum famously like ran out of the theater when Jaws, like when the kid runs up and he has a cut
Yeah,
finger at the beginning of the movie. My mum just
yeah,
ran. She
yeah.
said, I can't do this." So
I
yeah,
can't
my
do
mum
this. I'm
couldn't
out.
sit
I'm
through
out.
Queens of the Dead. I'm sure.
You know, my one concern with Queens, I was like, okay, when we had the waffles the at the influencer party, the dick waffles, that is actually I know the guy who runs this company, and we needed waffles. It was scripted to be a waffle truck, and he was like, I would sponsor this and donate these waffles to the movie, and I was like, this is great, this is campy, I love it. But my mom's gonna have to see it. Is she gonna hate these waffles? And anyway, I was like, I can't let that get in my way. And
no.
I told her, I was like, so mom, there's going to be some phallic penis waffles. Just warning you. And it was really fun to see her crack up at it the other night. She could handle it.
Yeah, it's one of those like
she
moments, horrible moments as a child when you realize that your parents have kind of been there before, you know?
Yeah, horrible.
It's not,
Exactly.
it's horrible. Yeah, we
Exactly.
don't talk
We don't
about
need to go there, Matt. Don't worry.
No, no.
Yeah.
There was one question I wanted to ask, like, was we all rebel against our parents at some point, and sort of growing
Yeah.
up with these, sort of, legendary, cinematic parents, was there any ever a point as a child where you were like, I don't want anything to do with movies, that's not me, I'm gonna just completely disown this? Or did you have that phase, or were you always into it?
I think my parents maybe wished I had that phase. But the honest truth is the bug bit me really young. I mean, being on set is the coolest thing in the world, in my opinion. Like, their sound of a rolling bell just makes me feel so happy. I felt compelled to be doing this from a very young age. But I also was a big nerd, and I wanted to do school, and I didn't go to film. I didn't go to undergrad for film. I went to undergrad for school, and then I filmed studies, and I wrote some papers on movies, and studied French. And like, did I take an econ class or business class? No. Would I have told my, now knowing what I know now, I might have told my young self to diversify my curriculum. But I still had my eyes set on eventually getting to film school. My dad didn't want me to go to film school. He was very anti-establishment, really.
Was he
Like, you
just
don't
like,
need.
do it, just get out there and
Yes.
do
Hands
it?
on, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But he came of age as a filmmaker in a different time. There wasn't as much tech. There
Mm.
wasn't as, and I think I'm really grateful that I went to film school. It was expensive and it was hard, but I learned it's like crucial shit that I will take with me forever. And I had
Mm.
to hold a boom pole and use a DAT recorder, and like, and be the producer, the editor, the DP, the grip, the gaffer. Like, I had to do everything. And I think that
So you
is
sympathize with
so.
everyone, I think.
Yeah, and you know what everyone's up to on set, even though like the specifics and the technology shifts, those fundamentals and like the basic concept of what all those people are doing on a set is important to know, I think, as a director. I think it's helpful.
So we saw you like blow away some zombies in Land of the Dead, which was awesome.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
did as an actress, did the acting bug ever take you where you thought, I'm going to go in that direction? I'm just going to
No.
purely be an actress, or was it always like, I want to produce and direct?
I am not comfy in front of the camera, and I think it really shows in that particular cameo of mine. My
Oh, you
fun
look so
story about.
awesome! Don't be
Really?
silly.
I
Yeah.
think I look like I'm cracking up. I think my performance is so silly. But my dad, right before we shot that, he calls up to me. I had like two takes. He calls up to me. I was up on the thing on the watchtower, and he was like, "Tina, I want to change the line. I want to do a reference to John Wayne, because it was my line was like stench, 10 o'clock." And he was like, "I want to do stench, high noon." And I was like, "Okay." I don't know. And there was something about, and I got my quick lesson on shooting the blanks out of the BB gun, which was cool. We were all freezing. It was freezing in Toronto during that shoot, and it just happened so fast. And I just remember, I feel like when I look at that, I'm like, oh my God, I'm not an actress at all. But that shoot was, my girlfriend at the time came with me. Her name was Caitlin, and they ended up making her up into like they gave her really good zombie prosthetics. They did her eye, she got contacts. She looked incredible. And we were rolling around the set of Land of the Dead as a zombie soldier couple, a gay zombie soldier couple. And
Yes.
I thought that was so amazing that
That's
for
progressive for
Christmas.
2005, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so I thought it was such a fun image that for Christmas I made her like a video gift, a mockumentary called Forbidden Love, about a gay zombie soldier couple. I had two of my best boyfriends like dress up, one as a soldier and one as a zombie, and I like went into their house and interviewed them. Very like, I gotta dig that up and find it
You need to
because
put that on Vimeo. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Be a good DVD extra or Blu-ray
yeah.
extra. That'd be awesome.
And
Yeah,
I do sort of like to think that Tomboy maybe was inspired by my own coming out journey, and that my dad put that in there as a way of like saying, "Hey kid, it's okay, you're gay," because he was pretty cool with my sexuality. I remember I got my nose pierced as a way to take the temperature of my parents, like how are they going to react to me getting my nose pierced. um my mother screamed, my dad laughed, and then I was like, okay, I guess we can tell them the full story now. And they were both my mom was like, I'm a hip mom, you can tell me these things. And then like, she did eventually crack open the wine and was like, was it Wellesley? Because I went to an all girls college, and she had, she had a moment of having to like come to terms with it, but has been nothing but supportive and great.
As a parent now, I can totally understand like your kids mutilating themselves in any way. I can imagine that visceral reaction, but you get over it, you know.
Yeah.
It's like it's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, exactly. And then my dad laughed and was like, "Men are assholes anyway." And he was very cool with it. In fact, that shortly after I came out to them, he booked tickets in Pittsburgh for us to go see two shows. One was the comedy tour with Margaret Cho. She was on tour. And she was very loud and out with about her sexuality, and talking about these things. And then the other one was a tour of Hedwig and the Angry Inch that was coming to Pittsburgh, and the movie had already come out. And but my dad took me to see both of these things, and I kind of felt like that was like a subtle way of him offering acceptance.
Well, that's
Like
beautiful. And
yeah.
is Segway your middle name, by the way? Because that was probably the most beautiful segue
I was going
into
to
the
say,
movie.
yeah, you're working now with Margaret Cho, and
But no,
Yeah.
to,
we're
to
talking
finish
about
that
Hedwig
point,
today.
not
Fantastic. Yeah.
not to judge your father, but he is a fan of musicals.
Yeah.
He liked his musicals. He knew what was going on. Like he's cool.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Exactly.
but
Yeah.
that's beautiful that you guys had that talk and you were able to work through that together, and you were able to come out to him and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's really important, man. And it sounds like he took it really well, which is
He did.
beautiful. Yeah.
He did take it. I'm a pretty lucky kid, man. I had some good friends who supported me. I had movies like Hedwig and the Angry Inch and But I'm a Cheerleader,
Mm,
to name a few that really kind of like helped support that experience.
mm.
And yeah, and I lived in a town. I mean, Pittsburgh was is there's both types of people in Pittsburgh, but for the most part, the city is a pretty liberal place. I was in Boston at the time, but yeah, I would say I had a pretty lucky coming out experience.
Oh, you're not the only person to say that Hedwig helped them in that journey with my friends. Personally, they've like referenced that in the past, and most recently, films like I saw the TV Glow,
Yeah.
which like stars Jack Haven, who's obviously in,
Yes.
in Queens of the Dead as well.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm so glad that yeah, I mentioned it before we started speaking, but that you recommended this and put it forward as like nominated it as your favorite film to speak about today, because I would not have made the time, I don't think, to see it, and that is my issue. And I should have had a look at it by myself because it was such a
Uh,
fantastic film. And I
I'm
don't mean
so glad you liked it. I'm so
yeah,
happy you liked it. Yeah, there's really nothing like it. It's such a cool, punky, the music is great, the imagery is incredible, and um, they create such a transportational experience on kind of like a small analog level.
yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I could definitely see how it was like a stage musical that moved into being a film because some of the sets and some of the mise en scène, to use
Yeah.
a phrase, like you can kind of tell that they were inspired by that. But honestly, I
Yeah.
just loved the storytelling through just like the way the Hedwig interacts with the crowds at the diners is so
Yeah.
naturalistic, and it's just like something we've all experienced before, and it was just such an interesting way of telling a story like that. And I just thought from the very off, this is unique. I like this. I'm in. And it does help that the music was just incredible as well.
Yes, yeah, totally. It is like the narrative. I think I was excited at the time by it because I was also excited by films like Waking Life and Moulin Rouge and things that felt like a little untraditional narratively. Um, if I had any, going back to a question before, if I had any like rebellion period, it was more in the, like a little bit of I don't want to do the classic cinema thing. Like I want to tell stories that don't have dialogue or like use dance as a vehicle for storytelling. And I went through that kind of that era, especially in film school and my first years of film school. And like when I was in college, I was making shows that were like trying to tell aesthetic narratives instead of classic ones. And I've kind of come back around to the value of a good old fashioned plot.
We all have
But
our David Lynch period, I
yeah,
think.
yeah, 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 yeah. But I think Hedwig does do a great job at like bringing a fresh kind of storytelling to the table with the animation, with the music. And it's different from a musical, but it is totally a musical.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
much funnier than I remember it as well
it's
because
funny.
I
Yeah,
first saw this about 19, maybe 20 years ago in a double bill with Priscilla, Queen of the Desert,
cool.
which was quite a it was quite an awakening for me, I've got to say.
Quite a
It
double
was a good
feature.
night, and it was
When
fantastic.
you saw these, were you familiar with the drag and drag culture at all, or was this like a window into that
Very
world?
much a window into it. No, I wouldn't say I was familiar, not to the extent of like, how much it was such a visceral part of people's lives and how important it was
Yeah,
to their identity. But I just think that the humor in this movie is so brilliant. Like you mentioned the
yeah,
animations before and the scenes of
yeah.
him in East Berlin as a kid and stuff.
Yes.
I thought that was so well done and kind of deadpan and the way it was done. It
The
really
I,
grabbed me.
deadpan. Yeah.
Oh,
I
the
love the
narration.
line about I performed and got tomatoes thrown at me, and then I had a nice salad.
Yeah,
And
things
it's
like
just
that.
like,
Yeah, then
Yeah.
I had
yeah,
a nice.
it's such dry wit all the way through it. It's beautiful.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I when I rewatched it recently too, and I also was like, God, this is hilarious. John Cameron Mitchell's so funny, such a good performer, his voice of an angel. Um, and I when I rewatched it, actually I rewatched it after we finished Queens of the Dead, and seeing that wig, that iconic Hedwig wig, and the glitter lip, I was like, oh my God, these images have been baking in my subconscious for so long that we see them in Queens of the Dead.
Mm.
Like they come out in Yasmin's glitter lip and and then I think that that movie is so in my subconscious as something that delighted me deeply as a young coming of age person
I think
when I
in
first
most
saw it.
creative projects that we do, I think that like, these things just kind of come out whether you want them to or not, and then you'll sort
Yeah.
of look back and you go, oh my God, that's Hedwig. Oh, but I didn't even intend that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it was just something that kind of came naturally. Um, so,
Totally.
so how did you first see the movie? How was it introduced to you?
In the movie theater in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, at the Manor movie theater in Squirrel Hill with a few of my high school friends. I think it was
Nice.
like toward the end of my high school time that it came out. And oh my God, we all loved it. We loved it. We like went, I feel like we had Hedwig parties on the weekends, or we would like dress up in our like punkiest accessories and just put on the soundtrack and dance around. And it excited us so much. I remember just that excitement from this film, the music, the message, the imagery, like, and then for me, I think that's the way that they animate the Origin of Love, and the, like the way that they put imagery to that story, to Plato's story. It just breaks my heart into it. Really is
Oh my
so
God, the
beautiful.
division, the sort of the idea of
Yeah,
division and all that kind of stuff. That really got me in the
yeah,
feels, man.
I know. And then just the simple idea of like you're just looking for your other half
Mm.
to like sew yourself up again, and like um that the lyrics, the imagery that goes along with the lyrics, it just paints a picture. Like, how could you be mad at that? How could you be mad at that story? How could you not feel empathy if you think about the world in that way? If you think about love as like you're just trying to find your other half, that's all anyone's trying to do.
It's the huge
Anyway,
biggest
I
mystery
think
at the
it was,
moment is the lack of empathy. I think, it's just very difficult
yes,
when seeing
Definitely.
someone's
yeah,
story so kind of plainly laid out like that as well,
yeah,
and it's how could you not understand this pain and
yeah,
this yeah, no, that's
yeah.
the problem with the world though, Tina, right?
It's the problem with the world. I know
Mm.
we're all so mad at each other.
Yeah,
God.
That's
everything's
I'm really
cool.
looking forward to I'm really looking forward to seeing like a modern day female queer perspective on the zombie genre when Queens of the Dead is released. I'm looking so forward to
Oh,
seeing that.
oh
Just because I
my
feel like it's going to
God.
provide like a fresh coat of paint to
And it's a new subgenre, right?
what we're used to. Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
I'm so excited for you guys to see it. Where are you in the UK?
We're Manchester, so
Oh,
northwest.
I think it's coming to Manchester soon. I think it's coming. Well, we can chat off airtime about this, but I
Well,
think it's
yeah, I
coming
was
to
going to mention that towards the
Yeah.
end. I believe it's going to be
Oh, good.
featured at Celluloid Screams, which is the Sheffield Horror
Yes.
Film Festival, and
Yes.
then going to be in the Soho Horror Fest, I think next month
Yes.
after that as
Yeah.
This
well.
guy does his
Um,
research.
I love it. Yeah.
So hopefully, yeah, maybe Matt, we could have a road trip to Sheffield then.
Oh,
It's only about
oh,
an hour down the road.
Tina, can you come?
Yeah. I would
that,
love to
that would
come.
be nice.
Oh my God, I would love to come.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I would love to, but I think we're gonna be over here promoting the shit out of this movie, trying to
Of
bark
course.
people into the theater. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I am so psyched it's coming to the UK, and I really hope the humor translates. There's a lot of kind of like slangy things, but I feel like it'll you guys will get it.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
I think
we've had
if
Drag Race UK for quite a few years now,
Exactly.
so I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Exactly.
that's true,
Yeah.
absolutely. I always think if Python, translates to America and Canada, then we'll be all
That's
right.
right.
Yeah,
That's right.
A
Yeah.
nice
yeah,
cultural exchange. Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. God, so congratulations for actually creating a new subgenre of zombie movies. We didn't know there could be another one, but there is. It's thanks to you. And in fact,
Oh.
Mike bought me this poster recently, which is fantastic. It's a brain, and in the middle of the brain emanates every single subgenre of in
Oh.
terms of it's like the nerve endings go around like
It's meant
this,
to be
and
like the nervous system of a
Oh,
zombie.
cool.
And
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's
So,
amazing.
so
You got to
your
send me a
family
picture of
has a
that.
plate, yeah, I will, I will. Your family
Yeah.
has like pride of place kind of in the left brain here, and then it goes
Does it
from
say
there.
Romero?
It
Is
says
there
like
like a
Romero, yeah, and Day of the Dead,
Oh,
and then
cool.
it features. It's up to 2013. This poster, so I think that would
Okay.
obviously cover your dad's movies, right? Because that would go up
Yeah.
to Survival, yeah, which
Yeah.
is
Mm.
a great movie, by the way. I like just while
I
I've got
know.
you,
I like
like,
Survival a lot too.
well,
Yeah.
that would be my question. Like, Day of the Dead is my personal favorite. I think it's
Mm.
just extraordinary.
Yeah.
What's your personal favorite of not just the Dead movies, but like of your dad's movies in general?
It's okay. It's going to be a toss up between Dawn of the Dead.
Mm,
I love Dawn of the Dead. It's colorful. It's silly. It's a one that I can watch and watch and watch and watch. As is Creepshow. I
mm,
love Creepshow. Again, it's anthology. It's colorful. It's. I think it is so comic booky. I think he nailed the feeling of comic books in that one. And I love the way it looks, and I love the storytelling, and I love a good anthology. Like I think it's so fun to see a bunch of vignettes, and and I would put Survival on the list.
mm,
I think that I would put Dawn for me above Survival, but I really like Survival because I think my dad got to do his Western with
mm.
this one, and he also got to. I feel like he pushed it with the production design, which he wasn't always like known for. Um, but I live for production design. It's like the number one thing I want to make sure is on point with the stuff that I do. So I was excited that they really got down to the nitty gritty and they were like paying attention to every detail and color schemes and all of that. And I think it looks phenomenal. And they shot on the red, and the red was a new camera, and I just think it looks so beautiful. And I think that there's some really good themes. I love the last image of like the dueling zombies. I think it says so much that even in the undead afterlife, there will be tribalism.
Yeah.
Um, is just such a strong image to end on, um, and yeah, so I would say, but Dawn really takes the cake for me.
We had
Yeah.
such an amazing experience watching Dawn for the first time. We actually watched it twice in the same night. That's how much we
Oh,
loved it.
cool!
So me and my
Wow,
mates, like,
in a row.
in a
Wow.
row, man. Like I'm
Oh
telling
my
you, Tina,
God.
like we
Wow.
put it on, we watched it, we had a few drinks, and we thought it was so brilliant that we put the video back in, and we
Oh my
The
rewound
God.
it,
VHS, yeah.
played it again. It's the only time, apart from Drop Dead Fred, that I've watched a movie twice in one sitting,
That's amazing.
and
That's
it was even
amazing.
better the second time. I'm telling
Wow.
you,
Oh, I
yeah.
love that. Yeah, it's fun, There's a pie fight. You've got zombies falling down escalator. And there's something about zombies that I personally think, like, I think zombies are best when they're a little silly.
Mm,
Like, when they have personality, when they're just like, because they're these lumbering, just shells of what we used to be, like what a human used to be. And they're stuck in the same outfit for eternity. And like Dawn really has fun with that. The Hare Krishna zombie, the nurse zombie, like, there's personality in the zombies and
Well, I
Dawn.
think that like
And
American Wealth is one of my favorite movies, and the reason is
mm,
because it does balance the comedy and the horror. So, well, and like
yeah,
you were saying about your dad zombies, they can be made fun of, but when they attack, they are
yes,
fucking
They are deadly.
horrible.
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
exactly,
So it's like you get
exactly.
that balance of the humor. Then when they attack, they in business. You know,
That's right.
it's like,
Yeah.
which
And because
balances.
one zombie, not so bad. Two zombies, not so bad. But like once you have a mob, just like when you have a mob of humans, the problem really gets worse.
A whole nightclub
Um,
full of them? Yeah, not good.
not good. Yes, exactly. Not good. Not good.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, you'll see that we really the look of my zombies is very much like inspired by Dawn. I love how they just painted them green. My dad is a big believer in like just set the rules for your audience and stick to them and they will come along for the ride. And in Dawn, they just painted them green.
Yeah.
And I think it works. I think it looks good. I like that stylistically. So that's what we did in Queens of the Dead. We just painted them green and we added a little shimmer on top because I also, I feel like the zombie genre is such a butch genre.
Yeah.
Very true.
And I was like, we need to make them a little more fabulous in this world, in this particular world that we are creating with Queens of the Dead. Like we need to have a little more glitter.
And also, it's about
Definitely.
what they represent at the end of the day. You know, it's like, that's what was so great about your dad's zombies was that I heard it described in an English review was they could be a hurricane, they could be a natural disaster. It
Yeah.
doesn't really matter. So the fact that they're, in Dawn, they're painted with, grey face paint, and in your movie, the
Yeah.
same. It's like, as long as the subtext and and the story is there,
Yeah.
then it doesn't
Yeah.
matter,
It
But
doesn't. Yeah.
having said that, I love Day of the Dead for its visceral and
Yeah.
amazing Tom Savini effects. But yeah, totally.
Oh my God. Tom really, really took it to the max on Day of the Dead. And it's so dark. It's so, and also so, Bub, come on, Bub is like the best
Oh,
zombie ever.
True.
Heartbreaking.
yeah.
And yeah, I'm curious to see if what you think. Like you'll be excited about. There's a little day Easter egg in my movie that I think you'll probably recognize.
Oh, Tina,
Uh,
really? Oh my God.
yeah,
Can't wait to find out.
and I'll give you a clue. It's auditory.
So that's all from Tina, Matt, and myself today. So thank you again so much, Tina, for joining us. Is there any information you'd like the listeners to know about the release of Queens of the Dead?
Oh my God. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I love you guys. I love this podcast. And Queens of the Dead is officially released in the US this Friday, the 24th. For those of you who maybe aren't like too horror inclined, fear not. This is a good gateway film. It's a good gateway zombie film. We put glitter in the blood.
Exactly.
It's a fun, campy, gay old time. With a little something for everyone. So check it out. It also will be streaming in December on AMC Plus and Shudder. It comes out December 19th, the same day that Dragula has its finale, which is a perfect time. And then I think next year it'll pop up on Hulu. And I'm not sure what all that means for the UK, but stay tuned because we will have updates for what
We
that
definitely
means.
get Shudder here.
Oh, good.
Yeah, my Shudder subscription, especially during this month, has been used quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, 'tis the season.
Exactly.
Well, Tina, thank you so much. This has been a dream come true for me. And let me just say briefly, I don't want to gush too much, but your family has more than earned its reputation for being wonderful and kind. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. And give my regards to your wonderful mother as well.
I definitely will. Thank you both. It's been really delightful to chat with you.
Best of luck with the release when it comes. And
Thank
hope
you.
it's incredibly successful. Okay,
So cool.
Thank you again, Tina. If you'd like to hear more from me and myself, from Matt and myself, I should say, subscribe to our Spotify and YouTube channels. Say goodbye, Matt.
Bye, Matt.
Good. Say goodbye, Tina.
Bye, Tina.
And that's goodbye from me. Goodbye. She got the Janet. You'd be surprised how many people don't get that.